So, take that as the premise. How do I summarize the actual worldview? And give me 3 or 4 minutes to do it, and then I'll promise to shut up. In the book, please buy a copy, I describe it as 10 concentric circles of interest. And these are really important, I think, for us all to understand. And I'll give 10 seconds on each. 1, keep the Leninist party in power at all costs. And keep me, Xi Jinping, as head of the party at all costs. Not as a transition point to some future slow evolution in the direction of a Singaporean-style democracy. That idea, which may have once existed, is no longer applicable. Number 2, national unity. That's how we maintain our legitimacy as a party. That means what we do in Xinjiang, what we do in Tibet, and what we're now doing in Hong Kong, and what we propose to do with Taiwan. Number 3, grow the economy. Interesting now. Living standards up, achieve political legitimacy, sustained basis with the Chinese people by continuing to have higher levels of disposable income, but also greater national economic power through which to fund other critical national capabilities, most particularly those of the military. 4, do so now in an environmentally sustainable fashion, because the Chinese people don't like dirty air, dirty water, and dirty soil, because they don't want to eat contaminated food products and die prematurely. It's a new factor in the hierarchy of needs. 5, modernize the Chinese military, in Xi Jinping's terms, to turn it into a modern, world-class military capable of fighting and winning wars, unquote. 6, China's 14 neighbouring states, 周边国家, the greatest number of neighbouring states of any country in the world apart from Russia, which also has 14, and have those relationships benign at a minimum and optimally compliant from Beijing's point of view, in order to have a reasonable cordon sanitaire around the country. Then 7, on your maritime periphery, that is facing to the east, and over time push the United States back in order to accommodate your eventual reunification with Taiwan. And that means doing what you can to undermine American alliance structures in Asia, with Japan, the Republic of Korea, and Australia in particular, but also Thailand and the Philippines. 8, there's only 3 to go. On the continental periphery, moving west, not east, use the Belt and Road Initiative to convert Eurasia into a zone of economic opportunity for Beijing, but also a zone of greater economic development, period, and a series of economies which become themselves increasingly dependent on China, extending across Eurasia, into South Asia, into the Middle East, eventually to Eastern Europe, 16+1, then to Western Europe. 9, in the rest of the developing world, Africa, Latin America, the rest of Asia, to become the indispensable economic partner of all, A, to expand your markets further, B, to develop those countries through their infrastructure, and then C, have them as reliable votes for China in international organizations, where the votes of all those countries matter. UN, Bretton Woods institutions, elsewhere. And then finally, on the international system itself, begin to change the nature of the international system in its institutional arrangements and values assumptions in a manner more compatible with China's worldview. And you see that already here in the Human Rights Council in Geneva, where China systematically, both in Geneva and New York, seeks with the support of Russia and others to begin to strip out the human rights provisions of various UN resolutions and to replace them with state sovereignty rather than the rights of the individual. And that being a harbinger of a change to institutional arrangements more generally. So I wish I could say all that in one sentence, but I can't. But if you think of it as a series of concentric circles, starting with party power, that is a view that I reflect in what I've written, but no Chinese interlocutor, when I put this to them, has disagreed with me, though it will not be written as such in as clinical terms as I've just written in any Chinese source.